CBS News chief Washington correspondent and Face the Nation anchor John Dickerson is with us from Washington now. John, good morning to you. How do the president's comments affect the North Korean situation?
Good morning, Jeff. You know, it was interesting yesterday. He doubled down in a sense. He said his remarks should have been tougher, but in fact, he pulled back a little bit. On Tuesday, the president said all that North Korea had to do was merely threaten the United States. Then, of course, they immediately threatened the United States and nothing was done. Nothing was planned to be done. So in a sense, he drew a red line and they walked right over it. What he said that was more specific yesterday was the United States will respond if they attack Guam. Now, that's more specific and more sort of traditional in what you would expect from a president. So while he said he should have been tougher, he in fact drew a new line that was a little bit more realistic.
John, President Trump has been so critical of former President Barack Obama's red line that he drew for himself in Syria. Isn't President Trump, in fact, creating a new challenge for himself with this rhetoric?
That's right. And on Tuesday, he improvised, according to reporting, that with that comment that basically there would be this catastrophic response if North Korea simply threatened. So that was a red line, which they immediately they threatened Guam. And so now he's put a new marker out there. Secretary of Defense Mattis was more skilled in the way that he threatened North Korea. He basically said, stop doing things that will lead to the end of your regime. That allows some cartilage in the relationship. So there's no mistaking what Secretary of Defense Mattis was saying, but he also doesn't put himself in a corner if they do something specific that crosses the line that he's drawn.
John, you also had some really strong words from President Trump directed at the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell. Let's listen in.
They said, Mitch, get to work and let's get it done. They should have had this last one done. They lost by one vote. For a thing like that to happen is a disgrace. And frankly, it shouldn't have happened.
The president needs McConnell to get his agenda through Capitol Hill. What's he doing here?
He does. Well, it's both counterpunching and a little bit of blame shifting. Counterpunching is that the majority leader said recently that essentially the president had set expectations too high, that his expectations were too high. Remember, on health care, the president said more people would be covered, that their coverage would be better, and that the whole thing would cost less. Everybody who's been working on health care knew that was impossible, but the majority leader argued basically that the president had set expectations too high, and this was the president responding to that. But the blame shifting a little bit, too, was the president had come to Washington saying he alone could get health care passed. Now that it has failed, he's putting it on the Senate, and we'll see if that actually gets any results. The margins are quite narrow that Mitch McConnell has to work with there.
General John Kelly is rounding out his second week as chief of staff. He started with a mission to bring some discipline and to streamline communications in the White House. Are we seeing that?
Some discipline, but obviously this week the president's remarks have been quite improvisational, so he may be managing down, but he's still got a challenge in managing up.
John Dickerson in Washington. John, thank you very much.